Hey, I'm Destiny. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. And if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. So this video is going to be about how I made over $100,000 selling hair my first year and opened up my salon. So one of the reasons I wanted to do this video is because one, I'm always asked, how do you run a successful hair business? How do you start? A lot of people see me on the internet talking about different marketing tactics, and they think that's all I did as far as building my business, but it's so much more. And I had also watched a whole bunch of other videos about how other people got started, and I noticed that my journey is so much more different from theirs. Like, a lot of people talked about what they did online, and a lot of what I did was offline as far as different pop-up shops, different personal development courses. So I'm going to go into all of that. But first, I'm going to take you back to 2016 is when I first started. One of the first things I did was my market research. So if you were in my city and you sold hair, I knew exactly what you were doing. I knew your business name, your colors, your logo, any photo shoots you had, your social media presence, how you were marketing online and offline. I knew everything. And I was dissecting pretty much everyone's business, trying to figure out how I could be different, figuring out what's missing that the city could benefit from. And the main thing that I came up with was no one had hair on hand, which actually, there was a couple of people with a few bundles on hair, but it wasn't a lot. It wasn't enough to gain a lot of attention at once. So I figured, like, okay, that's going to be where I enter in at. I'm going to have so much hair on hand to where they automatically think of me as soon as somebody writes a status, or they just think like, who has hair on hand, whether their stylist needs some quick hair. I was going to be that person. So from there, I developed my marketing strategy. And with my marketing strategy, I wanted everyone to know when I was launching. And I chose the date of January 1st because, one, I like to stay organized. And that day is where it's a new year, new things. So I had created a plan to where December was going to be my month, to where I'm just rolling everything out week by week, letting people know that, okay, January 1st, come be ready, because I'm going to have hair on hand and y'all going to be able to purchase. I constantly kept reminding people that my launch date was January 1st because I wanted to drill it in people's heads that January 1st, I'm going to have hair on hand because I anticipated selling out that day. So from there, I did a photo shoot. Well, I'm gonna rewind. So even before I did the photo shoot, I had a graphic designer, and me and her, we sat down, figured out like what exactly I wanted for my website. We decided what I wanted to do for my flyers. And then she was telling me like the different type of shots I needed to take as far as with my photographer to make sure I had the right images. I already knew going into my photo shoot, okay, I'm gonna need this type of angle, I need that type of angle, I need this for this flyer. When December 15th rolled around, that was my photo shoot date. So I dropped the behind the scenes footage. So then I had came up with, I was gonna do a giveaway. I was going to announce it on December 20th, about 21 days to the launch. And it was one of the things I created was like, okay, so if I'm going to launch on January 1st, I need to do something else. And what I came up with was a pop-up shop for Valentine's Day. So it's like, if everyone is going to be, I'm going to launch the giveaway winner on January 1st. And that's going to be the date that I'm going to have the most attention on my page. So that is going to be the date that I'm going to release my flyer for the pop-up shop. So that way people are already on the page. They're already looking for something. They're trying to see if they won the giveaway or not. And then boom, I have that pop-up flyer. So when that day rolled around, everything happened just how I said it was going to happen. So if with my city, like a lot of people weren't having pop-up shops where they actually had hair on hand. So my goal for that was to show people, hey, at that time, I had put out a video where it was like 100 bundles of hair on hand. So I just did, and I'm gonna insert the video so you can see what I'm talking about. So I did a quick video where it showed all the hair that I was gonna have on hand. To get people excited so they knew that when they came to the pop-up shop, I wasn't gonna run out of hair. And you know what? One of the things I did with so I had started playing around with the Facebook ads, And I thought I was setting my budget as $100 to run throughout that month, but I accidentally set it at $100 per day. And it had been 3 days, and I'm like, man, people really responding to this well, to where I noticed, I'm like, oh shoot, I have it on $100 per day. So like in those 3 days when running $100 on that ad, like it had so much traction to where I didn't even understand it. So my first pop-up shop was the buy two get one free for Valentine's Day, and that pop-up shop was so successful. You know, like when you first do your first event, you don't really know if people are going to support it or not. And especially like with something like that in my city, to where we haven't seen a bunch of people come support like a Black woman selling hair in that capacity. So like that first pop-up shop I had, I made close to $4,000. So after the success of my first pop-up shop, that's when I started looking into doing more pop-up shops. I knew that with pop-up shops, you can make a whole bunch of money by just having the hair on hand. So I had it to where I was doing one pop-up shop a month for the rest of the year, and I had it lined all the way up to where I had pop-up shops in all of our surrounding cities. I was on the local college campuses, and I did this for the remaining of the year. So after my first pop-up sale, I noticed that my attention was building. And you know, at the end of February, that's when tax season rolls around. So in the last week of February of 2017, that was my first weekend doing 10,000 in sales in just a weekend. Because you got to remember, I was one of the only people with a whole bunch of hair on hand. I had been advertising. I had passed out flyers. So it's like, who else has hair on hand? Where it was just clicking in people's heads, okay, we know we can get it from Destiny. It was like 3 weeks in a row to where I was just having really good weeks, to where I'm just figuring out like, okay, like what else can I do? And I started having pop-up shops in our surrounding cities, to where I had one in Muskegon, Michigan, which was successful. Then I had one in Kalamazoo, Michigan, that was successful. And my Kalamazoo, Michigan one, I had made $5,000, which just so happened to cover the cost of the delivery vehicle I was looking at, which at the time I believe it was $4,000. So I remember I was saying like, oh, if I make enough money, I'm gonna go ahead and pay cash for the delivery vehicle. And sure enough, that weekend I made the $5,000, and by that Monday I had my delivery vehicle. So as I was doing my different pop-up shops and vendor events, I noticed that there was a huge difference in the crowd from when I did my own event versus when I was a part of someone else's event. So after that first trial and error, I noticed that when I'm at someone else's events, no one comes to just spend $150 to $300 on hair. Like no one just comes to just spend that. So if I wanted to have a successful vendor event, I would need to advertise. I would need to get my people in the door at that vendor event. No matter where I was going to be at, I had to drive my own traffic. So I know a lot of people, once they start doing vendor events, they get real discouraged because people don't buy their products. But hair is one of those products to where you have to bring your own crowd every single time. And even while you're at those vendor events, like you need to have a booth that stands out. If your vendor setup stands out, like people are gonna remember you. Like I get even still customers like where they'll remember like, hey, I met you at this vendor event on this location. They're gonna remember, because I know with mine, I had a backdrop, I had a standing banner, I had different displays, like to where when you walked in an event, like you would see my vendor set up because it just stood out. Another one of the things I did was I made sure I was staying on top of my social media posts. So I was getting so good at posting 1 to 3 times per day, and I did that for a whole year straight. So I was just nonstop. I had learned Facebook ads, and I had also learned how to use hashtags. So once I learned that, like my social media page just started growing and growing and growing. It was me posting on social media 1 to 3 times a day. You know, I had a pop-up shop coming that month. You know, I was going to be running a sale at that pop-up shop. So I always had something going nonstop for a full year straight, to where you're just seeing me constantly, to where all you think about, okay, Destiny has hair. I had drilled it into customers. I had drilled it into stylists, just to where that in that first year of business, like I was so serious about growing my business to where I was doing different business development courses. One of the things about me is that Like, I had a fear of public speaking. I had entered a program that we have in Grand Rapids called Spring GR, which is a business program. And also at the end of it, it's a pitch competition. I remember, like, the first time I did my pitch, I bombed it. Like, it was horrible. The judges picking me as their final two because they felt that what I was doing was one of the things that the city needed. So it was like, okay, now I have a second chance to get myself together, figure it out, like, what I'm struggling with. Why am I getting up there and just forgetting everything that, like, I couldn't remember. When it came time to do that first pitch, I couldn't remember anything. Like, it was so horrible. Like, I couldn't even believe it. But when it came time to do the final pitch, I was prepared and ready. And if you haven't already checked out my pitch video, go ahead and check that. I was able to clearly articulate everything that I was doing in my business, the different successes I had up until that point. And that pitch, all the things I mentioned in that pitch was things that I accomplished within my first 6 months of business. My last 6 months was me. I was getting more comfortable with the routine of what I was going to be doing. I was starting to build on more business development courses. I had took a Facebook course in Lansing. I did a Google course that was offered in Grand Rapids. I had went to a business training with, it's a hairstylist named April Diva Style. She sells hair also. She had a business seminar in Detroit. So one of the things she was talking about in her class, because she had her class in the summertime, and she was telling us we need to be ready for Black Friday and Cyber Monday. She was telling us about our email list and that the money was in our email list. And remind you, this was back in 2017. Email lists were still great, and they were still generating a lot of money. So that's when I had started building my list up. So what I did was offer a private, it was like a preview sale to where you give me your email. And even on that sale, like, I had over 200 people give me their email address just to have private access to my pop-up sale for that day. And I remember on that day, like, I had been doing that, and that Black Friday and Cyber Monday weekend in 2017, I had did another 10,000. And the crazy thing is, like, before that Cyber Monday and Black Friday, I had a conversation with my sister, like, I'm so close to 100,000. Like, if I reach 100,000, I'm just going to go ahead and open up a salon or store. And you know what? From there, like, I never thought about it again. Well, I wouldn't say never thought about it again. Like, from there, like, it just slipped my mind. To where after that Cyber Monday and Black Friday sale, I had did over 10,000 again. And my sister was like, you at the 100,000. And I was thinking to myself, like, yeah, like, I really am. Like, I'm over it. I'm over it now. So, like, so where the store at? And I was thinking to myself, so I had started looking around at different places. And at that time, I was a Children's Protective Services worker. I happened to be on Craigslist looking for my clients some housing, and I had stumbled across a space. So when I went and looked at the space, I'm like, this would be perfect for my store. So, and at that point, this was at the beginning of December. And they had gave me such a great deal to where I just couldn't pass it up, to where all the numbers made sense, to where it's like, okay, I'm going to have a store. And then the space was big enough for me to even add a salon in it. So I remember even going through the negotiation phases. So it was like December 27th, I had signed the lease for my first salon store. And just even that whole process, like, I opened a salon, like a store, like, I designed everything. Like, I sketched out everything. I did the colors, I did the pictures, I had the photo shoot, I had the vision for everything. Like, I knew exactly how I wanted everything to look. So I just wanted to tell this story because I really built a business on having hair on hand and just selling to my local community. Like, I did so many pop-up shops in different surrounding cities. I was on college campuses. I was passing out flyers. Like, a lot of what I did to be successful happened off the internet. Like, the internet did help me because it was where I pushed different things for my different events, pushed out different sales, but most of my money was made in person, on hand, whether I was doing my pop-up shops, whether I was delivering hair. Because I remember on New Year's Eve of 2017, I was in the car so long to where when I had finally got out the car from selling hair that day, like, I can hear my ribs crack. Like, it was so horrible to where I was just like, okay, I'm tired. I don't want to deliver no more hair. Like, I'm done. Like, I was ready for just to have my store, for it to open, and that to be that. Because, like, after that day, like, I spent so many hours in that car, I couldn't believe it. So I hope you took away from my story just about, because I know nowadays, like, the biggest thing is, like, we all want to sit online and build our businesses because that's the new wave that's going. We want to use influencer marketing, but I still feel like it's a huge opportunity for just having their own hand, selling to your local stylists, selling to the local people in your community. Just that, because I know just that wave alone, because there's still a lot of people who don't want to wait to get their hair on the mail. Yeah, it's a lot cheaper if you order it online from like AliExpress. And you know what? Back then when I first started selling hair, AliExpress wasn't that popular. Like, a lot of people still didn't trust it like they trust it now, to where they'll just get on there, read the reviews. Like, the reviews wasn't like that back then. Like, so things was just a lot different. They transformed over the years. So I'm interested to see even how selling hair is going to be maybe even next year. Because I know since I've started, like, I've been selling more wigs than bundles, which is so, I don't know, it's different. Which people still buy bundles, but you know, it's just a little different. Like, I noticed that the whole industry is shifting. Like, I noticed that my prices that I launched with back in 2017 are like, I don't know, like, they're expensive compared to the prices that we have now. Like, the price of hair is going down now that we have a lot of more people selling hair. So my advice to anyone who's interested in selling hair, take a look at what the different ladies in your city are doing. If you can find a void in your own city to where people always are going to come to you for something, I would say take that route over taking the internet route to where you're trying to sell to everybody. Because realistically, everyone is not going to buy your hair starting off. You have to prove that, okay, this hair is worthy. Get your reviews, get your client photos up. And then from there, use that, what you already develop in your city, then push it out nationwide. I hope you've enjoyed this video today. And if you would like for me to do more hair videos, drop that in the comment section below. Drop some different topics you want me to touch up on. And make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And I'll catch you on the next one. Thank you.